Welcome back to Drift Garage. On the last episode, we... On this episode, we're going to look for Tuerck again. Where's Tuerck?
I don't know exactly which one we need, so we're gonna get a couple.
Hardware, 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 hardware. Oh yeah? Yeah, whatever. Because we don't want to have to manually turn these fans on and off all the time, and if you forget and overheat your engine, that's going to be a bad day at the track. So Mishimoto makes a little thermostat that will automatically turn them on when the fans see a certain temperature, read through the radiator through this little sensor. So we're going to drill this. And since I don't have a TIG welder in my personal garage, we're over at Rad Industries, and the man's letting us take over for a minute. Brought my man Dylan here to handle it. Quick little tip, if you're going to be drilling a hole into your radiator, you don't want all those metal shavings to fall into it, so I'm going to put a little air pressure in the bottom side here, and Dylan's going to watch his face and not get blasted by the shavings. Here we go. Oh, not even a chance, Dylan. We almost ran into a potential setback trying to get the pilot bushing out because these little jaws wouldn't actually fit into it. But our good buddy Eddie right here showed us a neat trick where you can actually fit one of them into it and thread a couple bolts in to really just hold it in place. You slide hammer it right out. Now before we put this motor back in, we're going to be replacing the clutch and flywheel with a brand new setup. Sam's was looking a little tired and it was a little chattered up, and that's one of the things that you've got to keep an eye on because that will ruin your day at the track. One of the things that you'll first notice is it feels like your car's not making much horsepower because it's actually the clutch slipping inside the pressure plate. It's not fully grabbing and giving you all the power the engine's making. And so you have the RPMs up but your tires aren't spinning, and that's because you're smoking your clutch. And what happens there is you overheat your pads and they'll start to crack and get brittle and chip away. And then your pressure plate and your flywheel will have these big blue burn marks and a lot of hot spots. And sometimes it's not even worth trying to resurface them. You kind of want to just replace them. Now since this setup's going to be making around 400 or 500 horsepower, we wanted to go with a pretty strong clutch but still have some great drivability. So we went with the ACT Extreme Pressure Plate, which gives a lot of clamping pressure on the 6-puck disc. However, we went with a sprung style disc, so it gives a little more drivability and less impact when you're dropping that clutch. And now for the flywheel, we went with ACT's medium weight, not their full race weight because it actually gets a little tough on a street car. But it is lighter than stock, and you can see that by it being cut out in the back and some provisions here to lighten up some of the rotating mass. And what that'll actually do is help this engine rev quicker and spool that turbo faster. So this setup is going to be perfect for a street car with no reduction in drivability, and also work great in this race car application when you're out at the track on the weekends. course, if you're going to be making more power, you're going to need more fuel. And so we're upgrading these old injectors with some new Tuerck 740cc side feeds. They're kind of goofy looking, you know, if you've never seen a side feed injector before, but they actually sit in this rail and sit in a little pool of fuel, and they get sucked in from the side here, and then it gets sprayed out the bottom right into each individual cylinder. And so obviously with the more horsepower, the more boost, the more air, we need more fuel, and that's where these come in. Now the idiot was on the right path with some upgraded injectors already. These are 550cc, but they're gonna max out when we really crank this thing up. So we're gonna be pulling these out and swapping them out to the 740cc injector.
You can't forget about the fuel pump though.
Oh yeah.
With the bigger injector, we need more pressure for the pump, a bigger pump to be able to produce more fuel.
Of course.
We're gonna jump up from a 255 to a 340, which is a big jump, and it should be plenty for this thing to make more than enough power with these injectors.
And now to get these injectors out, they're held in with little #2 Phillips screws, and a lot of people actually strip those out. A cool tool to have is this impact driver. You just sit it right on there, give it a tap on the top, and it actually pushes down and turns at the same time. Give up on me, Tuerck!
Maybe no more poop, dude.
We're just about ready to put the engine back in, and as you can see, it looks a little different than before. We did a couple mods to update it. We cut out these wheel wells for more steering angle clearance. We painted it gray because it was a terrible shade of red. Idiot. We usually go with a gray base paint because it helps you identify leaks a lot easier. You find those, oil stains on the engine bay. And like I said, we cleared out this area for more angle for when you're at full lock so your wheels don't rub. It also gives you great access to your suspension so you can, give it a quick nut and bolt when you're under the hood and not have to jack it up every time. We also did these steering rack bushings, which actually hold the rack a lot stiffer. They're rock solid aluminum. And it also moves the rack forward, which helps with your steering correction at full angle so you don't get that bind up that most drift angle kits give you. And I have my good buddy Danny come by to help out with the engine bay, taking it all apart, cleaning it, painting it, while we're getting this engine put back together to drop back in here. So it's going good down there, right bud?
Yes, sir.
All right. But if you don't mind, we got a motor to put back in. I mean, look how gross that is.
Yeah. Thanks for watching another episode of Drift Garage. If you guys have any questions about regular drift car maintenance,
or any questions at all, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And also, don't forget to tell us about that time you really messed up in the garage.
yep, like throwing tools around and breaking crap flying around the old garage.
I mean, I know I have.